Hello everybody, my name is Daniel Hack. I'm the head of brand heritage at Longines here in Saint-Imier in Switzerland. We are here at the moment in the Longines Museum in our factory, and that's exactly where you can discover so many interesting things in the history of Longines. Longines created the Conquest family in 1954, and it was the first family of watches that had its own name. Before we just used a reference number, which is very hard to memorize. You know, after a pre-series 1954, Longines adapted for the Conquest family always automatic movements. That means a self-winding movement that Longines developed, which was different than many other types of self-winding movements that were used at this time in Swiss watchmaking, because the Longines calibers had bidirectional rotor. So it was winding the spring in both directions. And this type of very accurate self-winding movement was put in all the Conquest model. If we look at this Conquest of 1955, you see this very purist design, and you see also that we have here a golden case, a massive, a solid gold, 18 karat golden case. And one of the distinctive features of the Conquest is it has this medallion on the backside with a constellation of stars on a blue enamel ground. Blue was the color for the golden cases and green for the stainless steel cases. In 1955, they made a test, and this test turned to be a world record. They gave 2 Conquest models to 2 English pilots, and they were flying with their Canberra jet from London to New York, refilled the airplane, and were flying back to London in just 14 hours and 21 minutes, included the refill of the airplane. The pilot, John Hackett, said, "My Conquest didn't vary by a second during the flight despite extreme temperatures and pressure variations. It kept completely accurate the time." So that was the test to prove the Conquest is really a very resistant watch and at the same time an elegant watch. The Conquest line had its evolution that was going on for many years, and with the time they tended to go upwards in the positioning with a Conquest that had the name Deluxe. Conquest Deluxe was the luxury model, like this one from the early 60s in rose gold. It hadn't just a golden case, but also a golden dial and golden hands. What you see also on this model is this concentric circle on the dial. That's a design feature that we reintroduced when we redesigned the new Conquest collection in 2023 and 24. One of the most impressive Conquest models of 1959 was the Conquest Power Reserve. What you see here is again an arrangement with concentric circles, but this time we have an additional functionality. This watch indicates the power reserve with the help of 2 rotating discs. And that was something quite unique. There is no other watch brand that used this approach to indicate the power reserve on a wristwatch. Here we have a Conquest chronograph model. This watch dates from 1973, and it has a very nice panda layout with black small auxiliary dials and a white main dial. The fact that this chronograph has a flyback mechanism, which was in 1973 still quite unusual. On a watch that is on the same time very robust, reliable and elegant. About 50 years after the Conquest flyback chronograph, we have a new chronograph which has a very nice dial in a champagne color. We have here a chronograph with a ceramic bezel that is scratch resistant, a sapphire crystal which is also scratch resistant. This watch has inside a silicon balance spring and a lot of anti-magnetic components, so it also resists magnetic fields, which helps to make it more reliable. On the same time, we have a very nice Conquest model in just 34 millimeters for the ladies. This watch has all the features that are typical for the Conquest line. Waterproof to 100 meters, silicon balance springs, anti-magnetic components, and of course we have a mechanical movement inside and not a quartz battery powered movement. Again, with this model we stay true to the Conquest heritage. You see also on the dial this concentric circle, which is a distinctive design feature of the Conquest line. This is the new Longines Conquest Power Reserve, the heritage model that we decided to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the Conquest line. The function that we have here on the dial to indicate the power reserve is something unique to Longines. What you see here is a perfectly balanced dial. You see the date window at 12 o'clock to keep the symmetry of the dial in a perfect way. Again, we have a movement with a silicon balance spring to keep the watch resistant against magnetic fields. The history of Longines is so rich that you always can discover new things. And what makes me most happy is to discover watches and clocks where Longines found a solution to do something in a unique way. I'm Daniel Hack, the head of brand heritage at Longines. Here in our museum in Saint-Imier, I would like to invite you all, if you visit Switzerland, have a look at our museum. Thank you for watching this video and see you again. Bye bye.